Most people who quit van life bought the right van for the wrong life, and it cost some of them over $100,000 to find that out. Today, I'm going to tell you the 8 biggest lies inside the van life world. Not the obvious ones, not the ones every beginner video covers, the ones that are quietly costing smart, well-researched buyers real money in real time. 2 of them I genuinely don't think you've heard framed this way before. I'm not here to talk you out of van life. I'm here to make sure that if you go in clear-eyed, not just excited. Let's get into it. Line number 1. You need a Mercedes Sprinter. Spend any time in van life forums, Reddit threads, or comment sections, and you'll hear this with near religious conviction. You need a Sprinter. Everything else is compromise. Here's the truth. The Sprinter is an excellent platform that's been mythologized into an expensive cult. Yes, it's a well-engineered platform. Great ceiling height, great commercial chassis, strong resale. If you find one with low miles and a clean history, it can be a smart buy. But let's talk about what that conviction actually costs people. A used Sprinter with a quality conversion runs well into 6 figures on the current market. A comparable build on a Ford Transit, same high roof, similar ceiling, same usable floor plan, comes in significantly less. The Transit has been America's best-selling commercial van for over 40 decades. Parts are everywhere. Any mechanic in any small town knows one. The Ram ProMaster comes in lower still, and its front-wheel drive layout actually gives you more interior floor space for the same exterior width, a detail most buyers never consider. In Europe, the same debate plays out with the Volkswagen Crafter and Fiat Ducato on one side and the Sprinter on the other. The Ducato is the base platform for more professionally built European campervans than almost anything on the road because it's reliable, parts are accessible from Lisbon to Bucharest, and it doesn't carry the prestige premium. The Sprinter's genuine advantages are diesel torque in the mountains and slightly better fuel economy on long hauls. Those are real. They are not worth tens of thousands of dollars in premium for most buyers. The best van is the one that fits your budget, your route, and your actual use, not the one with the most social media prestige. Line number 2. Off-grid living means true independence. Solar panels, lithium battery, composting toilet, rooftop water tank. This is the visual language of freedom. This is what sells the lifestyle. And here's what it actually means in practice. You've traded dependence on infrastructure for dependence on weather, geography, and mechanical systems that will eventually fail. Solar doesn't work in overcast weather. In the Pacific Northwest in November, you can go several days with almost no meaningful solar input. In a Scottish winter, it's worse. Parked under pine canopy in the mountains, same result. A poorly specified off-grid system doesn't give you freedom. It gives you a vehicle full of expensive equipment that leaves you powerless after 2 cloudy days with no shore power in sight. The experienced full-timers who genuinely live off-grid do it with serious, expensive setups, and they plan around infrastructure anyway. They know which campgrounds have shore power for winter. They know where the dump stations are. They're not above plugging in when it makes sense. True off-grid capability is a spectrum. Most van builds sold as off-grid ready sit somewhere in the lower half of that spectrum. Know where yours lands before you depend on it. Line number 3. Van life is way cheaper than renting. This is the financial argument that converts more fence sitters than anything else, and it's the most context-dependent claim in the conversation. Finance a good used conversion, and you're looking at substantial monthly payments before you've moved anywhere. Layer on full-time use insurance, which is categorically more expensive than recreational use coverage. Then campsite fees averaged across a full year, including seasons when free camping is harder to access. Then maintenance on a vehicle living a hard life. The total often lands surprisingly close to renting a 1-bedroom apartment in a mid-cost city. The math tilts decisively in van life's favor under one specific set of conditions. You own the van outright or close to it, you travel slowly, you camp free regularly, and you have genuinely eliminated your housing costs. That version is real. A retired couple who paid cash for their van and spends 9 months a year on the road. The numbers can work beautifully. A younger buyer financing a conversion on top of existing expenses. The gap is far narrower than the content makes it appear. Know which version of the math applies to your situation before the purchase, not after. Lie number 4. You'll work remotely from anywhere. The image, laptop open, golden hour light, mountains in the background, full bars. The reality, that photo was taken in July in a national park with unusually good coverage after the person drove 30 minutes to find a signal, and they have a video call at 2 p.m. they're quietly panicking about. Connectivity has genuinely improved. Starlink has changed the game in remote areas. If you're serious about working from a van in the USA outside of cities, Starlink is infrastructure, not a luxury. Budget for the monthly subscription and make sure the roof is designed to accommodate the dish. In Europe, coverage varies sharply by country. Germany, Scandinavia, and the UK are strong. Parts of Spain's interior, rural Romania, the Balkans, which are cheap and stunning, can be genuinely unreliable. The practical constraint, if your income requires consistent internet, your itinerary has now been partially written by coverage maps, not scenery. That's a real creative limitation worth understanding before you commit. Build your connectivity plan before you build your kitchen. Lie number 5. A DIY build saves you serious money. A skilled, experienced DIY builder can produce a van that outperforms a factory conversion at a fraction of the cost. That person exists. That outcome is real. The first-time builder who's watched a lot of YouTube and feels ready, that person is about to fund an expensive education. The honest timeline for a full, livable first-time build, done properly, not rushed, not cutting corners on safety, is 6 months to over a year of weekends. Materials bought twice when the first approach didn't work, the electrical section redone after something underperformed, tools purchased for a single task. These are not exceptions, they're the rule. A well-priced used professional conversion in the same budget range comes with a warranty, tested systems, and a resale market that understands what it's worth. The cost nobody quantifies is time. If you have a specific window of freedom ahead of you, a retirement you've planned for, kids leaving home, a career break, is spending it in a garage how you want to use it? Build if you love building. Buy if you love traveling. Be honest about which one you actually are. Lie number 6. Most people make van life work long-term. This is the one that surprises people. One pattern that longtime van lifers and conversion communities consistently report: a significant number of full-timers leave the lifestyle within the first year or two. Not because of financial failure, not because of a breakdown, because of something slower and harder to admit: burnout. Here's how it tends to happen, and I want you to sit with this one. A couple, realistic composites of people I've seen go through this, researched for over a year, bought a beautifully converted Sprinter, and hit the road with everything right. The van was spec'd correctly, the budget was solid, the relationship was good. 6 months in, they weren't traveling, they were managing, finding the next spot, tracking water levels, rerouting around a road closure, planning laundry, watching the weather for solar input. Not dramatic problems, small, relentless ones, the kind that compound across every single day without ever fully resolving. By month 9, the partner who was less certain from the start had started missing the ability to close a door. Not a metaphorical door, an actual door. They sold the van at a loss 18 months after buying it, called it a valuable experience. It was. It was also an expensive one that a month-long test drive would have largely predicted. The people who make it long-term share one characteristic. They treat van life as a system to be optimized, not a feeling to be sustained. They build routines. They build in relief valves, gym memberships, home base, hotel nights without guilt. They are honest when the lifestyle is grinding them down, and they adjust instead of push through. Passion starts the journey. Systems sustain it. Line number 7. Buy now, figure it out later. More people lose money buying too fast than buying the wrong van. The used campervan market has historically been very good at manufacturing urgency. This van won't last the weekend. Prices only go one direction. When you're ready, you're ready. The market is softened from its pandemic-era highs. Inventory has normalized. The right vehicle is not going to disappear if you take 2 more weeks. What will cost you more than any other single decision in this process, more than choosing the wrong platform, more than overpaying on price, is skipping the pre-purchase inspection. A few $100s to a certified RV technician or a platform specialist mechanic is non-negotiable. Full stop. What inspectors regularly find on used conversions: water intrusion around roof penetrations, where solar cables enter, where the fan was cut, siliconed over and painted; electrical work that fails basic safety standards; subfloor rot from a leak the seller managed cosmetically. These aren't edge cases, they're common. Finding that damage before purchase means you renegotiate or walk away. Finding it after purchase means you absorb the cost alone. Slow down. Inspect everything. Lie number 8. The right van will make you happy. This is the one nobody in the industry will say out loud, because the entire industry is built on the belief that the right vehicle is the missing piece. It isn't. The right van in the wrong life still fails. I've watched people find a genuinely well-specified, mechanically sound conversion exactly right for their stated use case and be miserable within a year. Not because the van failed them, because the lifestyle didn't fit who they actually were, only who they imagined they could become. Van life selects hard for a particular kind of person, someone who is genuinely comfortable with uncertainty, not someone who thinks they'd be comfortable with uncertainty given better gear and nicer weather. The actual experience involves not knowing where you're sleeping in 3 days and being energized by it rather than worn down by it. Before you spend serious money, test it seriously. Not a glamping weekend, a month in a rented campervan in real conditions. Winter if you're planning winter travel, remote if you're planning remote routes. If you come back already planning the next leg, buy the van. If you come back relieved to have a fixed address, that information is worth every dollar you spent learning it. Here's my final take, and I mean every word of it. The biggest lie in van life isn't about cost. It isn't about solar or sprinters or remote work or any of the practical things we've covered today. The biggest lie is buying the right van guarantees the right life. It doesn't. The van is the easy part. The variables that actually determine whether this works, your real tolerance for discomfort, your relationship's resilience under sustained pressure, your actual appetite for uncertainty versus your imagined one, none of those are solved by a chassis choice. The people who thrived went in with honest self-knowledge and a plan that had already been tested against reality. The people who quit went in with a dream and assumed momentum and scenery would carry them through the hard parts. Remember this: a van can change your address, it cannot change your personality. Be the first kind of person, then buy the van. One question before you go: which of these hit closest to where you are right now in your research? And if there's a lie I missed, something you only discovered after you bought, drop it in the comments. The best ones become their own video.